Welcome, Scorpio. This is your weekly focus for May the 27th, the week of May the 27th. I'm Tilly. This is Tarot with Tilly. Thank you for all of the support. Thank you for being here. Let's turn to the cards and find out what they will reveal about your week ahead. Okay, underlying energy is... Look at that. We have the Fool. You are on a brand new path. You are definitely stepping into new energy, lighter energy, new experiences, new challenges to face when we have new experiences. Absolutely. You need nothing other than yourself to show up and be ready for this to happen. I don't even think you can be ready for it. This might just come right out of the blue at you. You never know. You could be doing something and somebody says, hey, I need you in my life. I need you to run this for me. I need to marry you. I need to, whatever it might be. But there's definitely these new beginnings, these new starts for you, brand new paths. And look at that, our first card is the World card. So before we can really step into that new path, there are some loose ends we need to take care of. There is some housekeeping that needs to be done. We need to have closure and completion, healing in our life in order to step into the new experience with a sense of freedom, with a sense of liberation, with a sense of our inner child leading the way for us. We have the Hermit. So strong cards for you, absolutely. The here and now. The Hermit's been here for almost for everybody to say, listen, look at the here and now. What do you have to utilize in your life to move you forward in some small way, in some little tiny step, or some ginormous bold step even? But what is already at your disposal in order to do that? You don't need to do anything extra in order to take this step. That's the first thing you need to look at. Also, it's a good time to remind yourself of just what a wonderful person you are. Okay, your talents, your abilities, the magic within, the unique self. And lastly, we are making a plan for how we want to go forward. How we want to create our tomorrow. What we want to step into, what we want to make tangible, a reality, part of our reality. And the Knight of Swords. Well, the Knight of Swords, Knight of Swords is definitely a card. Where are we here? There we are, Knight of Swords. Definitely a card that has a lot of energy, and this has been a repeat for a lot of people as well. Okay, so I really see this as we are coming out of this dense, dark forest kind of atmosphere where we had to dismount, we had to make a path ourselves. There was no room to wiggle, and you finally hit this clearing. You jump on your stallion, you raise your sword in the air, and you yell, charge. Remember now that this is a knight, so it's a very young energy, and usually the young energy, we get excited and we just do. We don't think it through. We don't look at it short term. We don't look at it long term. That's probably the worst thing we can do. So it's about managing that enthusiasm so it's doable and practical energy that we are using, but our horizon expands in remarkable, wonderful ways. Something could just come out of the blue to completely change your life around. Something unexpected, something wonderful and beautiful. Definitely wonderful and beautiful with these cards so far. Okay, sitting over top of all of this is the Seven of Cups. The Seven of Cups is a card that tells us to think things through, weigh things out, understand what we are truly wanting to step into. You know, I've had almost with every reading too is just going within and understanding, you know, look for that deeper understanding of your true nature. To understand what limitations have stood in your way so that you can remove them, so that you can go forward in some way. Here we set, you know, mainly these cups where we've got the view and they're all above us for the most part. We really don't know what these cups contain. We want to fill our cup with beauty and love and prosperity and abundance, but we don't know really what each cup contains. We need to get it, a different viewpoint, or observe it through new eyes or a different angle. Understand it more completely before we're saying yes or no to anything that comes our way. And we have the Knight of Cups. So the Knight of Cups is, well, being present within the relationship. Absolutely. Dedicating time just for them and them alone. Or maybe it's your passion, your dream and desire, not to have the interruptions, to put the sign on the door and close it, not available, do not disturb, so that you can actually lose yourself in thought, in your work, in your creation of what you are doing. Maybe you're just planning and strategizing. Maybe you have something that is actually something that you can do within a room with peace and quiet. And really falling in love with yourself, and yourself living that passion, living that dream, living that joy. Okay? So this could be a hidden desire that comes out through meditation, or it just all of a sudden you see something and you'll be like, I remember when I used to do that. I remember when I enjoyed doing that. It's also about spending time within our relationships, having that open dialogue, that communication, that honest communication, maybe revealing fears or hopes or dreams or desires within the relationship. Once again, we are the Hermit, and we are looking to see short-term, long-term, what we truly want in our path forward. Is it a relationship? Is it somebody standing by our side? Is it a strong relationship filled with great communication, great support, great empathy, great compassion, great love, great romance? As we step into this week, we have the Six of Pentacles. Once again, it's a little bit about your relationships. Try and get that a little clearer for you. That is very blurry. There we go. So the Six of Pentacles is one where we're looking at the balance within our relationship. Who gives and who takes? Do we need to step into the relationship a little bit stronger? Does somebody else need to step up and take ownership of something? It is about giving in order to be receiving as well, okay? So as we walk in, we're looking at our relationships. Now, the World card here says that maybe we need to honor some relationships a little bit stronger, grow the bond deeper, but it could also be a separation here of some kind of relationship. Maybe it's a good friend that you always hung around with, or a co-worker, a neighbor. It could be a spouse, absolutely. Children move away, whatever might be happening here, but there is some kind of closure when it comes to the relationship. And there's also, how do we take it forward? And you might have some very dynamic, wonderful ideas in which to do that. As we end the week, we have the Seven of Swords. So whatever you have come up with, I get these aha moments in almost every reading right now. So I'm just going to assume that you are going to have the aha moments too. It seems to be more of a collective thing this week. Keep your vision mainly to yourself. I mean, you can share it with certain individuals, but for the most part, you don't want anybody taking your dream and dissecting it so it becomes the joke at the water cooler. You don't want anybody taking your ideas and taking ownership of them. You don't want to give anybody the opportunity to poke holes into a dream, a desire, a want. This is also a time when we have to understand what we are taking forward with us, and is it necessary to take that with us? Do we need it in order to go forward? Or is it something that is better left in our rearview mirror? This could also be where you are looking at creating joy, happiness, celebration for yourself, and celebration for the collective. So I would think, so let's say you're part of some organization within the community, helping the community grow and become stronger, and you have a great idea and you're put in charge of it, and I mean it just turns out to be a wonderful success all around. But when everything comes out now, is it important that you are named as the main person that brought it all together, or that you were part of a group of people that collaborated together to create such a magnificent event? It's trying to find that middle ground in there where you need the recognition, but also you understand that everybody needs the recognition, everybody who played a hand, and how that works out, and how it feels, how the balance needs to be in your life. Okay, so you would have to ask yourself then why are you doing it? Are you doing it for the reward and recognition? Are you doing it so that somebody sees what you do and then hires you to do something else? Are you doing it to actually make the world a better place? You know, so it's a balancing act, and it can be a little bit of everything, right? You can say, well, it's not just that. Of course I want this as well. So what is that balance? What is that true balance, and how do you give of yourself in order to achieve that balance? For work and career, we have the Nine of Pentacles. The Nine of Pentacles is definitely another card that has been showing up over and over again. If you notice at the top of the card there is a whole flock of birds. And that's the first thing that caught my eye, was the flock of birds. You're definitely, the veil is very thin. This is a time of great conversations with God, your angels, your guides, the universe, your higher self. Sit in quiet contemplation. Think about some of the things that you want to move forward in, some of the things that you want to invite in. That new path is awaiting you. What things do need closure in your life? Where do you need to turn up the heat for your enthusiasm, your motivation? Who are you telling your secrets to? Whatever it might be. To get that sage wisdom, that gut feeling comes alive. Your intuition becomes right on. This is also a card that tells you to go into an elevated path, that you've done everything that you can. Okay, so even if you were a stay-at-home mom and you did this for a living, it's not going back to that again. It's going back to an elevated path. It's expecting more out of the world to appreciate your talents, your abilities, what you bring to the table. Okay, now that might also mean that you're going to have to change some habits or some behaviors. If you're looking for something that is going to pay more, has more responsibility, so more stresses, more aggravation, are you prepared to handle all those things in your life right now? What can you handle? That's what you should be going after. But it's definitely an elevated path. So a raise, a promotion, a brand new job, a brand new career, a new way to stream money into your life. And if we look here, okay, so just being that person that is centered, that is grounded, that is thinking of the other person, allowing them to be seen, growing those bonds. So this could be a boss or something that you are growing a bond with, or a good friend, and they say, hey, I know somebody that would love to have you on their team. You're growing these relationships. Maybe you're networking yourself, you're socializing with purpose, but it's one-on-ones. You get this energy, you get this excitement, you start talking about what you want to do, where you want to grow, and be careful of who we share that with. But once again, this is somebody that's going to help us move forward on our path, and then it's time to raise the stakes on where you are going, of what you do, because you have so much more potential than you are allowing to be utilized out there in the world. For love and relationship, we have the Tower. Something could completely change out of the blue. You were not expecting it within the relationship. Maybe somebody shows up and professes their love to you, or proposes to you, and you weren't expecting that. You didn't see the relationship being at that point yet, or maybe you've been waiting so long that you figured they'd never ask, and they do. It could be those kinds of things. It's you breaking through the glass ceiling. So it could be an earlier trauma that you experienced within a past relationship, and this is almost like a collective thing because it's come out in more than one sign, where it's time to look at that trauma. And the chances of you looking at that trauma is because you heard of somebody going through something very similar in the now. and you want to reach out to them, you want to help them, you want to tell them what got you through it, that there is light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. And when you do that, when you reach out to help another because of something that you endured and became, came out the other side fairly successful, what happens is you realize that there was a part of that trauma that still lingered within you. Through your words of helping somebody else heal, you also allow a part of yourself to be healed that maybe you were unaware of. So when we lay it down now, we understand a little bit more. We get clarity, we get understanding about the balance of our relationships here. And I don't even think we have to put a lot of thought into it, that things just emerge, truths come out. You could be stepping into a brand new relationship, absolutely. There could be more than one suitor involved. So, you really want to think it through of who they are, what they represent, and does it align with you and your values and what you want in life. And there's some tidying up to do. Absolutely, some tidying up. We'll grab one more card. We're going to lay it right on the Hermit. And this is the Six of Swords. This is a card of going forward. Exactly what the Hermit is doing. The Hermit goes into a cave, the desert, thinks about the here and now, thinks about the path forward. And when they have a plan, they come out and start to pursue. Here we are, and we are pursuing. We have our talents, our abilities, our knowledge, our wisdom, all here with the swords on the front of the boat. And we are going into uncharted territories, new beginnings. Once again, new beginnings. Something, rocks our world, and we're ready for those new beginnings now. It takes us into that elevated path. So we don't know a lot about it. We will learn on the way. We will start to chart the territory we are going into, understand it a little bit better, make it our own in some way. Until we meet again, remember, I do love you.